Calling the meeting to order. Roll call. Maria Okpara is here. Rick Raleigh, absent. Gary Assey.
Here.
Amanda Buchanan.
Here.
Dennis Bender.
Here.
Ms. White, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Kylie, do we have any public comments?
We do not have any public comments pertaining to closed session.
Okay. We're going into closed session. Expulsion cases number 25, 23 to 24 through expulsion number 27, 23 to 24. Expulsion case, stipulated expulsion number 2, 23, 24, and stipulated number 3, 23, 24. Readmit cases AR 13, 23, 24 through AR number 18, 23 to 24. Expungement of expulsion case number 10, 22 to 23. Conference with litigation, Government Code Section 54956.A, subsection A, current litigation, 11 cases. CIVDS 19-0712201118320222956. CIVSB 211-303-222-0303-221-8676, 222-7023-230-4865, 2314073-2322171, and 2412359. Government Code Section 54954.5, subsection C, and 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 2, and subsection E, and subsection 1, anticipated litigation 1 case, 2020-2021-05. Government Code Section 54954.5, subsection D, and 54956.95, anticipated litigation 1 case, claimant, Garrett Nicholas. Number 3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment, transfer, leave, title, certificated, and classified employees. Number 4, public employees appointment, resignation, retirement, reduction, title, certificated, and classified employees. Number 5, conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator, Dustin Conrad, employee organization, Apple Valley Unified Teachers Association. Number 6, conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator, Dustin Conrad, employee organization, California School Employees Association. Number 7, conference with real property negotiator, Government Code 54956.8, negotiating parties, Matthew Schulenberg, Apple Valley Unified School District. Number 8, security matters, Government Code 54956, consultation with Apple Valley Unified School District Chief of Police. Superintendent evaluation. I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We shall be back. Calling the meeting to order. Again. Roll call, Maria Okpara. I'm here. Rick Raleigh, absent. Gary Arce.
Here.
Amanda Buchanan.
Here.
Dennis Bender.
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance. Amanda, will you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. All right, please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. Before we get started, I'd like to say that the board appreciates and supports our educational partners' input at our meetings. Engagement by members of the public and civic matters is the cornerstone of our democracy. Everyone should have a chance to express their opinions within the guidelines the board has established for its meetings so that we are able to conduct the meeting effectively and efficiently. During the meeting, there will be time for the public to comment on matter not on the agenda. In addition, members of the public may comment on specific agenda items after I, as your board president, ask for public comments on an item. Until it is your turn to speak, or if you are here just to observe the meeting, please refrain from any behavior that prevents others from participating in the meeting or that disrupts the board's ability to conduct the business of the board. Once again, thank you very much for taking your time to join us this evening and to be a participant in this duty of serving our students and our educational community. At this time, we would like to pause in a moment of silence to remember retired AVUSD family members Penny Spinney with an E and AVUSD family member Monica Orloff. Thank you very much. Board comments? Mr. Bender?
Just how well the kids were behaved at graduation and how God gave us such good weather.
Thank you. Mrs. Buchanan?
Yes, the graduations were phenomenal. It's the best part of the year. I don't want to pick a favorite, but I will say that the best dressed award has to go to Phoenix because the administration, like Principal White, had the best suit. And then her administrative team had matching sneakers, their Nikes and the Phoenix colors. I'm just saying, it was pretty amazing. So it's awesome.
Thank you. Mr. Arce?
No, nothing.
And for me, it's been a pleasure serving the students of this district, this school, last school year. And to watch their happy faces at the graduation was worth the ticket to the show. And I hope all the teachers and the administrators and all the support staff get a very well-deserved rest until we meet again in August. I know we have another meeting next week, but I'm looking forward to it. I had the pleasure of seeing our adult graduates at Victor Valley College, and I just have to say it's never too late to get that education. My mother used to say education is an Olympics everybody can win. So I do hope that when we come in next year, our children will be ready to go and we will be energized to get this job going. Apple Valley is the place to be. Thank you so much. Mrs. Nelson?
I, too, would just like to comment about the promotions, the graduations. I can't get to every promotion because they double up, but I move around, and it's phenomenal to have those experiences with the families and to see how happy they are and how supportive they are of their children. Summer school has begun, and we have a lot of kiddos attending summer school this summer, both at the elementary and high school level. And then professional development is also ongoing. We have a room full over in the NPR of people today learning about crisis response. Our district has not been far from crisis response all year, and so to have more people trained and skilled at this process is wonderful for us. So there's about 80 staff members over there right now, which is incredible. And then the last 3 days, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, was all about foundations. The foundations teams came together and reported out on what they had accomplished this year at each school site for common spaces with our Safe and Civil facilitator, Susan Isaacs. And then I also would like to just comment on the adult ed graduation. I know that Ms. Buchanan and Ms. Okpara were there, but Dr. Sharina Betters did the keynote speaking, and she had us laughing and everybody engaged. But what I was most impressed with is the entire group of Apple Valley adult ed students stayed until the very end. They enjoyed the entire ceremony. They were there to process out, and I was just so proud of them. And I think publicly I needed to say that because the room started as soon as people had crossed the stage, they'd leave to go start their parties. And I was just really proud of the Apple Valley crew. So that goes out to Adele and her team and all the work they do to make sure those people realize what an honor it is to be part of that kind of a ceremony.
Thank you. We have union representatives. Do we have anybody from CSE here?
I do not believe so.
Do you have anybody from AVUTA?
We do not.
Thank you. At this time, I am going to read out our action taken in closed session. In closed session, the Board of Trustees approved the following. On a motion by Amanda Buchanan and seconded by Maria Okpara to appoint Christy DeBasco as Assistant Principal Elementary, Mariana Elementary, Range 7, Column 5, on the Certificated Management Salary Schedule, 205 base duty days effective July 1. Congratulations. On a motion by Maria Okpara, seconded by Gary Arce, the Board of Trustees approved the following. Appoint Jamie Hodge as Assistant Principal Elementary, Phoenix Academy, Range 7, Column 1, on the Certificated Management Salary Schedule, 205 base duty days, effective July 1, on a vote of 4-0. Congratulations. Conference on Litigation, Government Code Section 54954.5, subsection D, and 54956.95, N. Garrett versus AVUSD. On a motion by RC and seconded by Buchanan, the board voted unanimously to accept and pay the claim of Nicholas Garrett. I think that was it. The board may approve the agenda as is or add and/or pull items from the consent agenda for a discussion and/or action. I propose to add the following item to tonight's agenda pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 because there is a need for immediate action that arose after tonight's agenda was prepared. To add this item to the agenda, a 2/3 vote of the board is required. If less than 2/3 of the members are present, the vote must be unanimous. Board action to amend and adopt 2023-2024 Board of Trustees meeting calendar for the June 13, 2024 meeting to provide for a 1-hour duration of the closed session instead of the 2 hours presently scheduled. I ask for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, I guess you got your unanimous. Recognition presentation to recognize Thomas Amaya of Walmart Distribution Center, number 7033, Community Partnership and Support by Mrs. Nelson. Where is he?
Yeah. Getting there.
So as the board knows, because they see them at every board meeting, we do a receipt of gifts and donations that you all have the pleasure of seeing at on every board meeting. And there are a lot of donations this district receives, but the consistent donation is from the Walmart Distribution Center. And Thomas, we are beyond grateful for the partnership and the support that you provide to not just Apple Valley Unified School District, but at the community at large, because the things that you donate allow us to support our families, support the needs that they don't have, things that just go unnoticed. And we want you to know, and we want your entire team to know, that it does not go unnoticed by us. And while we accept those gifts, we want to give back in the sense of appreciation. And in this district, we do a recognition having to do with our values, our core values. And you represent all of those core values. The part of dignity, the food that's provided, the things that we can give out at our food pantry, that provides dignity to a family that couldn't provide otherwise. Service, you serve with humility. You never ask for anything from us, and you just keep showing up. Community, you are in this community. The Walmart Distribution Center is here. We are so proud that it is here because we had no idea when the town told us the distribution center was coming, what that meant in partnership. And finally, authenticity. I think that Walmart has stood by authenticity every chance that they've gotten to come back and support in this community. And so we just wanted to take the time. I wish this audience was full of our students and our families. And we will continue to talk about this. But I want everybody that is here, that is watching, to understand that when we tally up how much the Walmart Distribution Center has donated this year, we are well over $100,000 in donations. And without you, we could not make the things happen that happen for our family. So thank you so much. Yeah. You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. Shocker out there. I love you.
Thank you so much to the principals who were called up unannounced. But we are all one big happy family. We don't do things in the real way. We do it anyhow that works to make sure we know you are here. Now we are going for proposed 2024-2025 budget presentation by Matthew Schellenberg, Assistant Superintendent, Administrative Services.
Thank you. You should have a printed copy of my slide deck at your seat, so feel free to reference that. And of course, the slides are up on the screen. Okay, it's going to do it to me again. Come on. For some reason, we'll try again here. There we go. Just to recap, this is a familiar slide when we talk about our proposed budget. There's a lot of information we use. The first thing we use is we set our benchmark for the current year as our estimated actuals, 23-24 estimated actuals as of last month. That really sets our projected ending fund balance for this current year, which sets our beginning fund balance for the next year. So that's the first benchmark we have to set. And then, of course, we're looking at the governor's January budget proposal, the May revise. We use the FCMAT LCFF calculator, as do the other 999 school districts in the state of California, to determine what our LCFF revenue is. Excuse me. We use the school services dartboard, again, widely accepted information, and of course, the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools common message that gives specific guidelines to San Bernardino County school districts. So here's our estimated actuals or EAs as of May. You'll see, I'm going to take you through just a couple points. If you look at the unrestricted column, about 192 million revenues, 158 million expenditures. We transferred out $166,000 in support of another program in our district. The contribution there, I want to bring your attention to that line. You'll see it's just a little over $39 million. The two components, or the two major components of that contribution, that's from our unrestricted section of Fund 01, our operating fund, to the restricted side of Fund 01, is to support our special education program and our routine restricted maintenance program. Those two programs, special ed making up the majority of that contribution. So you'll see on the unrestricted side, we did spend our ending fund balance down by about $5 million, from 27 to 22 million. And you'll see the components there on the bottom. On the restricted side, you'll see 61 million in revenues and 112 million in expenditures. Well, that's because there were some one-time funds that were already booked on the restricted side of our budget in previous years that don't come in as revenues. We're spending down our restricted ending fund balance. So you'll see we spent that down by about 13.6 million. So it is down to about 13.6 or 13.7 million as our restricted ending fund balance. And you'll see the combined side. We did deficit spend to about $18.6 million. A lot of that was planned, and we knew that was going to happen, the majority of it being on the restricted side of the budget. Any questions on this slide before I move on? Thank you. Here's a little more detail. Breaks it down into what I'll say are the 1,000s, 2,000s, 3,000s. It's kind of the shortcut language in the business office. Salaries on the 1s and 2s for certificated and classified, our benefits, books and supplies. That's just a little more information. You'll see the transfers out. Over the past few years, we have been transferring out about $600,000 to support our deferred maintenance fund. We did not make that transfer this year. We did transfer $166,000 to support our adult education. We did also make a contribution to that in the previous fiscal year, but I know our coordinator of our adult education program is working very hard to work within her budget. We just did have some salary increases kind of, and the timing just, it caused her some increased expenditures. And you'll see Fund 40 reserved for capital outlay. I just want to remind the board that is our RDA revenue, the redevelopment agency revenue that flows into our general fund and the restricted side, and we transfer that out to Fund 40. Fund 40 is the fund where we are currently making our COP debt service payments out of Fund 40. So that's restricted for facilities use. Any questions on this slide?
Yeah, you had 16 million on books and supplies under restricted.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me just a short definition of what a restricted budget item will be under books and supplies?
Well, sure. A lot of on the restricted side, you're going to see a lot of site-specific expenditures related to Title I. In books and supplies. And also they have payroll expenditures on the restricted side. We have restricted lottery funds that flow to us, which are earmarked specifically for instructional materials. That's typically going to be your books and supplies on the restricted side. Subscriptions, yes, and some consultants also, and well, actually they'd be under 5,000s in the services, consultants to support our professional development.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. So for 24-25, moving forward, we are still projecting a slight increase in enrollment for next year in ADA, and we're getting some of that with the expansion of our TK program. So we're projected our funded ADA at 12,602, which we are projecting that as our P2 ADA in the spring of 2025. The statutory COLA of 1.07%, we are assuming that as the governor and the legislature, as they battle up there, funding the COLA is something that hasn't been threatened too much yet. But so we're making that assumption at this point. So the impact on the LCFF, of course, our LCF revenue is a little over 184 million. Of course, that is the lion's share of our revenue to our school district. And of course, it flows to us unrestricted. But within that unrestricted LCFF, we always have to remember we do have our supplemental and our concentration grant funding, which is specifically utilized within the goals in our LCAP. And it's kind of restricted, but it does flow to us unrestricted with specific uses that we identify. On the federal side, we're budgeting about 10.5 million in revenues. We're back to more of a normal post-COVID federal revenue, ongoing revenue situation. All the one-time federal revenue, all the one-time state revenue that flowed to us is all gone. There's no more coming. So we're normalizing. A little more on the revenue. We are assuming that we are receiving the full grade span adjustment revenue for our TK and K3 grade span adjustments. So that has to do with the class size we maintain, 24-1 in grades TK through 3. Well, let me restate that. 24-1 in K through 3, 24-2 in TK for the really little ones. We are budgeting the contribution to routine restricted maintenance. As I mentioned earlier, that's that part of that contribution from our unrestricted side to our restricted side of our Fund 01. And within our LCFF, I did mention the supplemental and concentration. We also have 2 additional add-ons. We have the transportation add-on and the transitional kindergarten add-on within that 180 some million for our LCFF revenue. On the expenditure side, we are budgeting step and column for all units as we do every year. We do have a negotiated compensation increase with our certificated bargaining unit that is in the budget. We have not negotiated any compensation increases for our classified or management groups. Of course, we pay our STRS and PERS contribution rates as those go up. They've kind of leveled out, and they're projecting those to level out on the certificated side, although PERS is projected to continue to increase. I wanted to leave fleet replacement expenses up there with a line through it because, as you know, over the years, we've had a great opportunity to purchase buses and rotate some old buses out of service and get some new buses into service. Well, our buses are running about $250,000 a piece, and these are not electric buses. Those are much more expensive, diesel or gas, but we are not budgeting for any fleet replacement expenses this next fiscal year. So I wanted to make that transparent. As we always do, we include all the LCAP expenditures in our budget as an ongoing basis, and of course, we'll make any adjustments necessary as the LCAP approval is, the LCAP is adopted and the approval is finalized. So here's a quick look at what we have on the books for 24-25. You'll see we are projecting currently some significant deficit spending on both the unrestricted side and the restricted side of our budget. Again, the restricted is, again, that's planned. That's spending down some of that one-time money. That's assuming all of the routine restricted maintenance money will be spent. All of our ELOP money will be spent. All of our arts, music, education block grant will be spent. And that may not come true. On the unrestricted side, again, we're budgeting for all of our normal expenses. I would like to point out, you do see something different on the unrestricted side. We have a transfer in of $2 million. Earlier, I mentioned the deferred maintenance contributions that we've been making over the past several years to Fund 14. Later on today's agenda, you see a action item to uncommit the funds in Fund 14. Board took action a couple years ago to commit those funds to support our routine deferred maintenance projects. I'm recommending the board take action to uncommit those funds. As you see on that unrestricted side of our budget, if we did not have that $2 million, we would not meet our 3% required reserve. Any questions on this slide before I move on? Okay. As we move forward into 25-26, pretty standard revenue assumptions. Again, we are still projecting a slight increase in our ADA, so we're budgeting for that. We are budgeting per the school services dartboard and the county common message, the 2.93 statutory COLA for that year. And again, we're assuming receipt of all the grade span adjustment for our TK through 3 program. And again, the federal and state revenue are really normalized moving forward. Not a lot of anticipated changes on the federal side or the state revenue, what's considered other state revenues. That's some small unrestricted pieces and some restricted pieces. This is the tough slide. On the expenditure side, we are budgeting step and column. There are no negotiated salary increases for that particular fiscal year. We are budgeting STRS and PERS, all of our LCAP expenditures, but that last one is the tough one. While we work through this year, we will have some cost efficiencies that we will need to identify, programs that we need to make efficiencies in, looking at any positions that are vacated and determining if those positions are going to be filled. So we are currently assuming right around $12 million in expenditure efficiencies and reductions for the 25-26 school year. That is approximately 5% of our total operating budget. And most of those efficiencies or reductions will need to come on the unrestricted side of the budget. The caveat we have there is the supplemental and concentration grant funds fall within the unrestricted side of our budget, but making cuts to the supplemental and concentration grant don't do us a whole lot of good because we still have to spend that supplemental and concentration grant money. If we don't spend the entire allocation, then the following year, our supplemental and concentration grant allocation is increased by the amount we didn't spend. Because there were a lot of districts that weren't spending it and they were just rolling it over and considering it unrestricted. So the state came down with some more regulations. So this year, we're going to be making some decisions as to services to continue, services to streamline as we move forward. So here's what we look like in 25-26. You'll see on the unrestricted side, We're currently projecting just under $200 million in revenue, 156 million on expenditures. Our sources and contributions up to 42 million. Again, that is the majority. Continued cost pressures and increases within our special ed program. But we're currently projecting what I would call a balanced budget with an excess of $261,000 on about $200 million of expenses. The restricted side, again, pretty balanced, given that contribution, of course. And you'll see the combined side again, it just carries through with a projected ending fund balance of right around 10 million, which does meet our 3% required reserve, but which does not meet our 5% board policy required reserve. Any questions on this slide before I move on? Thank you. Going into 26-27, not a whole lot of excitement out in 26-27 because honestly, we have no idea what's going to happen 2 years from now. Hopefully the state's economy is recovered. Hopefully Gavin, well, I don't think it'll be Gavin. Hopefully whoever the governor is, whoever the governor is hopefully handing out money hand over fist, especially to schools, and we'll recover and all will be well. We are assuming, again, a slight increase to our ADA, the statutory COLA as recommended by school services, and the grade span adjustment again. And just to back up a step, in the fall of 25, please note that transitional kindergarten is fully implemented in the fall of 25, which its ratio goes to 20-2. So that could be a facilities issue, but again, full implementation at TK through 3 is what we're assuming. And on the expenditure side, again, nothing exciting. It's a lot of the same carryover, ongoing expenses on the LCAP. And we make adjustments as we make adjustments to our LCAP. But in this multi-year projection, not a whole lot of adjustments out in our third year. And that's currently where we sit. Revenues are coming in about 205 million on the unrestricted side, with expenditures up to 161. There are a couple instructional material adoptions that are being assumed in this year, which are a couple of the large expenditure increases in that year. So we are currently, again, what I would call a balanced budget. We have about an 800,000 excess on about a little over 200 million in expenditures. And you'll see the components. And again, we do meet our 3% required reserve in the out year, but we do not meet our 5% board policy. So a couple concerns again, our enrollment in ADA, of course, we are still projecting a slight increase. That's going to come through some additional transitional kinder students as that reaches full implementation, and also some increases in our K through 12, smaller increases. That is something that we'll have to keep a close eye on to make sure that comes to fruition, because if the kids don't show up, we will absolutely have to make adjustments to these revenue assumptions. The LCFF funding, I put COLA to fund or not to fund, and that's still questionable. I know the governor and the legislatures are still negotiating the budget package. We'll know end of next week, June 15th. Of course, the legislature has to adopt a budget by June 15th or they don't get paid, and they've been great at adopting a budget prior to June 15th. Then they negotiate some more. The governor takes out his pen, starts crossing things out, and then, of course, he signs it by June 30th. And, of course, the effects of any continued economic situation and in the Prop 98 maneuver, I think you've probably all heard of that, and you've heard of the governor striking a deal with CTA, and we're still kind of waiting to see exactly what that looks like, because none of the trailer bill language has been written or is released on that, so there's still some questions. But it does... if that goes through, it is better for schools than the governor's original proposal. And I think I talked about a couple of these already. The biggest what if Prop 98 maneuver. And of course, that last bullet, based on the state adopted budget at the end of June, we'll do some analysis when we come back in July. And if we need to make some major adjustments, you'll see those at the August 24 board meeting. And I have one slide left, but all it says is questions and thank you. So does anybody have any questions? Thank you very much.
Kelly, do we have any public comments?
We do not. Mr. Conrad is watching. He does not believe that we will wave to him. I told him we would. So this is a double dare, by the way. So
Ready?
it's been done,
All right.
but we do not have any public comments.
You should know the mood we're in, right?
This is summer. We do all kinds of things in
He said,
summer.
wow. He's so excited.
Okay.
It's so easily entertained.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to conduct a public hearing to solicit the recommendation and comments of members of the public regarding the specific actions and expenditures proposed in the 2024-2025 Local Control Accountability Plan for the district. Do I do Bender time or do my time?
I can fill one vendor minute if you open the hearing and then.
I'm gonna open the meeting.
Awesome. I just wanted to first thank the board for letting me present last time on this, so you had a chance to review the LCAP document. And I wanted to apologize for a couple of errors that were pointed out to me as I went through. You probably already found them. I appreciate you not calling me and saying, how come you labeled on page 26? I did have a mislabel of an action item. I had 2 transportation items when one of them should not have been. So that's been adjusted. And I have been going back and forth with my county reviewer with minor adjustments to some of the actions, just in language, sentence structure, things she knows that certain advocacy groups will be looking for. Of course, she pointed out that error. There was also a justification for action 1.1 or 1.2 that had that whole awkward box. I was able to get that out of there as a formatting issue from document tracking. And then goal 4 and 5 are now complete. And in the posted LCAP, the equity multiplier item for Phoenix Academy and the Phoenix Academy preschool is item 5, and Apple Valley Virtual and High Desert Premier Academy are item 4 or goal 4. Those items are in there. They've been reviewed. Our reviewer is quite pleased with our progress. We are in as good at LCAP approval shape as we've really ever been in. And so it's marching along well. And we feel confident that we will be moving toward approval soon after board approval. So just a little update on the items since I've given them to you last month.
Thank you. Any comments from members of the public? Well, the meeting started at 4 o'clock, so time close is 4:02. Conduct a public hearing on the proposed operating budget for the 2024-2025 school year. I'm going to open again 4:02. Any comments from the board? Let me go back as I was thinking about that information. The COLA is going to go from 1.07 in 24-25. And then in 26-27, the COLA is 3.08. The question that I have is, in this period of time where the COLA is not growing as fast as the cost of living, how are we going to make sure that we adjust enough so that our employees don't feel the pinch of the drop in COLA?
Well, if with the COLA in its current state, apparently not keeping up with inflation, even though inflation has moderated quite a bit since its peak, ensuring that our employees, as you say, don't feel the pinch is going to require the entire system to really take a look at prioritizing expenditures, whether those be materials, program expenditures, because As you know, we are a people-rich organization. So if in order to take care of our people, that means we do have to find the funding somewhere else in our budget.
Thank you. Any comments from members of the public? We're going to close this at 4:04. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees discuss and take action on the following items. Approve an increase to the compensation of board members beyond the limit delineated in Education Code 35-120 in the amount of 5% based on the present monthly rate of compensation effective July 1, 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
What's that bring the pay up to?
The $20. It's probably 405.
Huh?
20%, 5%. It's probably-
No, I don't know the total. What is it? I don't even know. What is it?
Mr. Bender, it would go from $420 a month this year, effective July 1st, it would be $441 a month.
Wow. That's a lot of money. Well, did we all vote on this already? Okay, good. Approve the certificated and classified personnel actions as listed with an amendment to certificated personnel action, page 1, employment 2024 to 2025, Ferris Crystal, from Phoenix Academy to Rio Vista School of Applied Learning. And an amendment to certificated personnel action, page 2, establish new positions from teacher, Phoenix PC, number 1, teach, 12:30, 7 and 7.19 hours per day, 184 base duty days to teacher, Rio PC, 1 teach, 1230, 7, 19 hours per day, 184 base duty days. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Just for the public, there was an error in the placement of where the teacher was being transferred to. They had put in for a transfer, and the PC numbers have to align. So when we do a personnel number, it has to match so that the funding comes out of the right account in the business office. So we did, the one change caused the PC number change as well. So that's why there's two pieces here.
So it is now 7 hours and 19 minutes instead of 7 hours and 11 minutes?
It's 7.19. Is the
7.19.
percentage.
It's always been 7.11.
7.19 hours is equivalent to 7 hours and 11 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the percentage.
That's all I remember. That's how I, that 7 hours and 11 minutes. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, number 3, we already did that. Number 3, approve the recommendation for requested leaves as noted. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approve the recommendation of the Ethnic Studies Committee to proceed in the development of courses pursuant to option 4 of the curriculum framework, a blended model. I need a motion. I'll move.
I'll second.
Both of us were the people that worked it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approve the recommendation of the administrative hearing chairperson effective immediately. Expulsion case number 25-2023 to 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? expulsion case number 26, 2023, 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Expulsion case number 27, 2023, 2024. I need a motion.
So, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stipulated expulsion number 2. I need number 2, 2023, 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Expulsion case stipulated number 3, 2023, 2024. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Expulsion case number 10, 2022, 2023. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Annual review number 13, 2023, 2024. I need a motion.
President Okpara, I do want to offer that if you wanted to make those 13 through 18 in one motion, you are allowed to do that for those annual reviews.
I will do that.
Thank you, President.
Okay, annual review number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
That down.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pass and adopt resolution 232424, committed fund balance, fund number 14. And need a motion. So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, approve the proposed amendment 2023-2024 Board of Trustees meeting calendar for the June 13, 2024 meeting to provide for a 1-hour duration of the closed session instead of the 2 hours presently scheduled. Meeting will begin at 1 o'clock for public comments, after which the board convenes into closed session, reconvening into public session immediately following closed session, but no earlier than 2 p.m. I need a motion. So move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees consider approving a number of agenda items as a consent list. Consent items are routine in nature and can be enacted in one motion without further discussion. This procedure conserves meeting time for a full discussion of significant issues. Consent items to be approved in one motion are item number 1 through 31. I need a motion.
So moved.
1 through 32, sorry about that, 32.
So moved for 1 through 32.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Future items. Do any members of the board have any future items for next week? Okay. Next board meeting is Thursday, June 13, 2024, 1 p.m., Educational Support Center, Conference Room A. There being no further business to come before the Board of Trustees, it is recommended that the meeting be adjourned. I need a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much for your time.